my job, and I'm well aware that my job is to be there as a martial artist and support the process of making this film and to keep the lead actor safe. Now, if it's somebody like Jet Li or, a martial artist, it's a little bit easier than if it's Matt Damon or Hugh Jackman, because they're kind of a bit more used to it. But still, you don't want to be the one that kicks Jackie Chan in the face and ends up shamed in the end credits. You don't want to be that guy. It's hard for me to dream big, which probably was a mistake looking back. But it goes from, I just want to be part of this. I just want to be involved. I mean, yes, in my wildest dreams, I want to be a star. But then I'm holding myself back with that. So I'm thinking, well, I need to go through the stages. I just want to get in a Jackie Chan film and be a stunt man. I want to just get in a martial arts film and be fighter number whatever and in the tournament, which it was with Extreme Challenge. And you just take it stage by stage. And I remember at one point, we were talking about this, doing Special Forces. And that was my first lead role, really. And I remember thinking to myself, I don't know what my style is. I don't know that I've figured it out. It wasn't until I did Undisputed 2 and played Boyko. Because I remember when I was first starting out, posing was still a thing. You do your kick and then the guy, and you do a pose or whatever. So I do these poses. I never felt comfortable with it, and it's kind of lame. It's cheesy. You don't want to pose. It's a Bruce Lee thing. But that was in the 70s. And so doing that in the early noughties, it didn't feel right, and I got rid of it. I'm Undisputed like that, the posing, just get rid of it. But I found hitting with power and being very agile, athletic, yet very powerful, kind of became the style that I found for myself. And it was like, now get rid of the poses, that's cheesy, don't do it. Yeah, I mean, it was one of the first MMA films ever made, if not the first. I know they did these shoot fighter films, which were kind of like that, but this was the first martial arts film to do that since the UFC kind of blew up. And so that was the style, was MMA, And I used to teach kickboxing. I know the style. That is my style. Taekwondo and kickboxing are my main martial arts. So it was an easy fit, and obviously you just blend in the gymnastics and the tricking type of kicks. But yeah, I guess that became that is my style, because those are the martial arts that I've trained in the most. So it's a natural thing, boxing and kickboxing and high-flying kicks, that Taekwondo side of the kicks. And then I recognised that it was effective. It looked good. Like Special Forces, I'm playing around with trapping and different sort of martial arty type stuff. And then I did Boyko, and it was like, no, this feels most comfortable to me. And of course I've done other roles which have required me to look like a different sort of martial artist, like the ninja movies or whatever. Steven Seagal's Aikido, Van Damme's karate. I'm MMA. I'm of that generation. For me, the choreography is secondary to where the camera is and how it's shot. It's much more preferable for me to have somebody create a fight, and then I'll turn up and it'll be like, okay, I'll work my way through this now, and I'm going to adjust it to fit me. It's kind of like my script writing. I'll let somebody else do all the hard work, and then I'll come in and I'll just mess with it a bit. But what's more important to me is, because the kick is a kick and a punch is a punch and all the rest of it, as long as we're telling the story, and I might not have been thinking about that back in the day, but certainly now, as long as we're getting the story beats across, and the character is the character, he needs to fight like the character should fight. But for me then, it's more about, I'm interested in where the camera's going to be to capture that, and I'll put my ideas into the choreography, and that's how I prefer to do it. The beauty of a fight sequence is when you see that punch at the right angle and it looks like it really connects, and it looks like, oh, you've filled his cap with that. There's violence within it that's entertaining. The best punch I've ever seen is Hard Target, and Lance Henriksen and the actor, and he puts money in, they've just cut the guy's ear off, right, and he's got money in front of his face, and he hits him And Lance Henriksen could throw a punch, man. But the way they edit it, the way John Woo edits it, and the angle that he uses, and it's one of those John Woo Ping angles where it's really hard, and looks like Lance Henriksen was really close to this guy's face. But that is like one of the most impactful punches I've ever seen. I absolutely love it. And then it goes to slow motion with his blood coming out. Ip Man was difficult because Donnie's Wing Chun style with quick barrel punching, and they wanted me to it kind of evolved throughout the film, but they wanted me to be the karate style. So you've got the big movements at one point. And so for me to catch his punches with making a big movement when he's just so fast, that was a bit, that was tricky. And he's obviously really quick. You know, when you're working with someone of that level, Tony Jaa, Kane Kasugi, Marco Zaror, you know, Iko, all the guys, everyone who's anyone in martial arts filmmaking, it's, you know, it's easy. It gets done much quicker. And so, yeah, there've been times when some producers have brought some people to set that don't know what they're doing, and I'm not happy about it. It's like, man, you know, I'm doing all these fights for you in this movie, and you're bringing me guys that don't know what they're doing, and it's making my life much harder. Can't you just pay a little bit extra to get somebody decent? You know, it's that sort of thing. I don't want to be mean about anyone, I'm not saying any names, but that's what happens. And sometimes you get guys that are like, oh, there have been times when there's people that are really inexperienced and they get to come and do a film with Scott Adkins and they're dead happy about it. Oh, this is going to be great, I get to do a film with Scott Adkins. They're not happy about it for long because it becomes a miserable experience because they don't know what they're doing. And after a while, I'm going to lose my temper because, you know, what we're doing here, you don't know how to do it, mate. And you don't want that, you want to be a nice person. But when you're doing so much of this so often, it's kind of difficult because you want to work with people that are good. I don't know, you've got to find a group of people to train with, haven't you? So you can all work together and turn up on the set with some knowledge of what needs to be done. Don't just wing it and think you're going to be okay. And even if you're a professional fighter or something, it's different making a movie. You know, it's screen fighting. Some real fighters are better at it than others. Some haven't got a clue. Some fighters have this kind of broken rhythm, which is great if you're a fighter. But you kind of need to know what the rhythm is when you're doing a film fight so that you can delay at the last minute and stay close to each other. But if I can't understand his rhythm, I'm like, whoa, when's it coming? And you can't get as close, can you? So my advice would be to get together with some friends and do your own little movies and just get better at it. And you know, look, I mean, making action films is hard, and I can't say I've kept my temper all the time. But I always make sure that when we've done it, I go up and give everyone a hug and say, look, I'm sorry guys, but you know, you need to be a bit more experienced, and it's been a long few weeks, so I apologise.